Okay, so welcome everyone. Tonight we're learning a Sicha from the Rebbe. The Rebbe said, celebrating the 50th year anniversary of his coming to America in the year 1941. The Rebbe arrived in America on Chof-Ches Sivan, the 28th of Sivan, and today is Chav Zayin, so Shabbos is Chof-Ches Sivan. This year, so 1991, the Rebbe celebrated 50 years, which is known as a Yovel, a Jubilee. And the Rebbe now this year is going into his 85 years, 85th year. He arrived in 1941, so 2026 is 85 years, going into his 86th year of since he arrived in America. And the Rebbe is going to talk about in this talk the significance. It was celebrated. It was a big celebration, the Rebbe's 50th year. So the heading of the Sicha is, and it says Sichas Absiyata Dishmaya, Sichas Kvokdish Zad Mishlita, the Sicha of the Rebbe, B'yoyim Beis on a Monday, Chof-Ches Sivan, the 28th of Sivan, in the year Tinase. Tinase means to lift up, but also it's the year Taf Shin Nun Aleph, which is 1991. So the Rebbe, before the Sicha, they blessed the Rebbe, and then they had a Brichat Kohanim that the Rebbe corrected because they didn't start the Brichat Kohanim properly, which is a priestly blessing, also connected to this week's Parsha Korach. It's Yovel Shanim, 50 years, Latzolas Koikdish Ad Mishlita, from when the Rebbe was saved, Barabonis and his Rebbetzin, Hatzitkanis, the righteous Rebbetzin, Mi Emek HaBacha Mi HaYiropa, from the depth of tears in Europe at the time during the Nazi occupation and murder. Ubiyasam Slacha, and they came successfully, the Artzos Sabris, to the United States, B'yoyim Beis on Monday, Chof-Ches Sivan, Tav Shinav. So the Rebbe, that year, 50-year Jubilee, was exactly also on Monday, 28th of Sivan, the year Tav Shinav, which is 41. The Rebbe is celebrating on a Monday, 28th of Sivan, 1991, and this year again, tomorrow is going to be Shabbos, Shabbos Kodesh, is going to be 85 years. In Yoni HaMiyuchet Shel Yom Zakai, when we talk about what's the importance of an auspicious day, Shekol HaYom Kuloi Nikra Kach Yom Zakai, the entirety of the day, from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, it's considered a day, it's an auspicious day. Biglal, why is it called an auspicious day? Davar Tov She'ira Bo Yom Zeh, something good happened. And then, obviously, we're talking about it at a previous time. The Rebbe is going to talk about how it's present till now. That happened on that day. Hello, Reb Shimon. Even if the happening of the auspicious day, we're talking about the 28th of Sivan, when the Rebbe arrived in America. So obviously the boat arrived in America. It wasn't a whole day that the boat arrived in America. It arrived in America, whatever. It was an hour. It arrived and they got off the boat. So the Rebbe says, even though it happened only in a certain time of the day, whether it's the beginning, middle, end of the day, the Rebbe says, nevertheless, he says it's an auspicious day for the entire day, and that the whole day of the month is going to be an auspicious day. Like the Rebbe says in footnote number 3, that it's in divine province that something happened on that day, because there's something specifically about that day that made it the worthy day. So it's the day itself. The whole day is a worthy day, even if the incident took only an hour or only happened in the beginning and middle of the day. But it's auspicious of the day. It's not just that once the thing happens, the day becomes special. The thing happened because there was something special about that day, and it was revealed with the thing happening. The Rebbe says, what's the point? In our case, Chof-Ches Sivan is an auspicious day, and it was revealed as an auspicious day when the Rebbe came to America. So therefore, because the day is a 24-hour period, the whole day is auspicious. It's now revealed that the 28th is an extremely special day. When the future Nasi Hadar and his Rebbetzin come to Chatzikadar Tachlim, come to the second half of the globe to start furthering the mission of Mayanas Chutza, the wellspring of Chassidus, going to the world. The Rebbe says, what's suspicious? What's the day that the Rebbe arrived in America? It's Chof-Ches Sivan. is the 28th of Sivan. The Rebbe says Chof-Ches oisis koyach. The word the number Chof-Ches, which is 28, because we count Aleph through Yud is 10, and Chof jumps another 10 is 20. So Chof is 20, and the go 8 is Chof-Ches is koach. What's koach? Koach means strength. B'chodesh moira ala koyach shel kol hachodesh, and it's not just that it's a day. There's a 28th of every day. It's of every month. It's the 28th of the month of Sivan. Means it's the koach of that month, because what makes it a number 28 is because there's 30 or 29 days in a month, and so this is the 28th of that month, meaning to say it's the koach for the entire month. The koach Sivan madgish u'moira al koachai shekol hachodesh hashlishi. It's not just the koach, the strength of any month. It's the third month. What's so special about the third month? Like the Torah tells us, it's the month when Torah was given. That the Torah, which we know is a book of three, given to a people of three, Israel, in the month of three, which is the month of Sivan. We count the first month as Nisan. So it's a meris, meaning to say, Shayim Zaki the Chof-Ches b'Sivan matzbiya ala koyach shel matan Torah. So if the day the Rebbe arrives in America is the 28th of Sivan, and the 28th of Sivan is koach, and the koach of the month of Sivan, and what's so special, What's so special about the month of Sivan? One of the unique things of the month of Sivan is matan Torah, the giving of the Torah. So this is the koach of matan Torah. The Torah, what makes something strong? Torah establishes the fact. So the strength of koach is because koach, the Torah says that 28 is a number of strength. Which is specifically connected to the number 3, which is the third month. And what's so special about the number 3? Why is it so? Why did the Jewish people have to be a people of 3 and the Torah be given in a month of 3? So the idea is because the number 3 in Torah is considered a chazaka, established fact. When you have doubt about ownership of something, so 3 times makes it a chazaka, or 3 years makes it a chazaka. A chazaka means that this is an established fact. So the Torah, which is an established fact, gets its strength because it's also in the third month. And this is the koach, the 28th day of the third month. Like it says, a knot of 3, a triple knot, doesn't easily get disconnected. The number 3 is a sign, symbolizes strength and everlasting. Something that's going to continue. The Rebbe spoke about this many times in Tafshin and Aleph, that in a chazaka you have, like we know, we've talked many times, that numbers in Torah are also broken up into sub-numbers. So if the number 3 is a strong number, so 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, is the 27th of the month. So tonight, Thursday night, Friday is the 27th of the month, is the idea of Shalish Ba'am Shalish. The Rebbe spoke very much in the month of Nisan, the auspicious day of Chof-Ches Nisan. And that after that comes koach, comes strength. So the 27th, which is the strength of the chazaka, built on that comes the koach of the 28th. That the 28th comes after. We've not just had the chazaka, but we've had the triple chazaka in the month of chazaka, which is 3, the month of 3, which is Sivan, which is for the message of Matan Torah. What's this all mean to us? The Rebbe is building on something, not just throwing lines out. This is why the Torah was given on the third month. It's also the Torah itself is connected to 3. The rabbis taught us, the Chazal teaches us, blessed is the merciful, that he gave us Urim Tlisai, La'am Tlisai, the third people, Aidei Tlisai, Moshe is a third, B'yoim Tlisai in a third, B'yarchet Tlisai in the month of 3. Rav Nisan Goin Moina Oid Inyanim Shal Shleisha V'Kesher Matan Torah. Rav Nisan Goin, we know that the Goic period was before the Rishonim, after the Talmud. So one of them is Reb Nisan Gaon. I believe there's a Siddur of Reb Nisan Gaon. He's one of the first recorded Siddurim. So he also says other things of 3 significant to the number 3 to Matan Torah. Because again, what's chazaka? Chazaka is an established fact. Again, so if there's doubt about ownership or doubt about a situation, a chazaka establishes that this is the fact. So the idea is because when Torah is given in the month of 3 through the third, through 3 books, through in the third of in the third month. So this is all the number 3 to establish the strength of 3. Is because the idea of the Torah is because it gives a kiyum v'chayzik b'nei Yisrael. The Jewish people now have a strength because of Torah, and not only that, the whole world gets a strength. Like we know that the world was dependent on the Jewish people accepting Torah. Up until Matan Torah, the world was kind of not finished. Why wasn't it finished? Because there was a gzera, there was a decree that separated the worlds above from the worlds below. Meaning, you couldn't take something spiritual and permeate the physicality. And only Matan Torah gave the strength to reveal godliness, which is something elevated, to something low like this world, that we could take something physical and make it holy. Something that's so low, there is nothing lower than this world. It's not just that we use something casually, as by the way, that this becomes a tool for Torah mitzvahs, but actually the Torah, through doing a mitzvah, it permeates the thing to the essence of the thing, the space, the person, and the time in this world. So all the things that make up this world of mokim and zman, nefesh mokim zman, get permeated when a person does a mitzvah specifically in this world. That the idea is through Torah we can make the article itself into an article of holiness. The Rebbe says, and when did this happen? Matan Torah. And the strength of that, the Rebbe is building what's the idea? That it's number 3 is a chazaka. Moshe Miriam and Torah Nevi'im Ksuvim is 3. Nisan Sivan Nisan Sivan is 3. So there's all the significance of 3 to make it a chazaka, and the strength of the chazaka happens on the 28th. And what is Torah? It's not. What is the chazaka of? You say, I made a chazaka. Okay, what's your chazaka? A chazaka is that I'm going to go to the gym. That could also be a chazaka, right? Maybe if I go 3 times to the gym, we could assume I'll continue going to the gym. Or 3 times, there's a lot of chazakas I could have in my life. We're not talking about just any chazaka. We're talking about a chazaka of Torah. And now there's a strength of Torah in the world. And there's not only that, the Torah gives strength that the world keeps in existence. V'adrabah. HaTorah nitna b'matan Torah dafka b'ayil mazah tachtan. It wasn't that the Torah was given up in heaven and then we took it down, so to say, into this world. The Torah was given here in this world. There's no, like the Rebbe said, no place that's lower. Until the rule is, the Torah is not in heaven. That when in doubt to the law, heaven doesn't have superiority over this world. On the contrary, even like the Gemara tells us the stories of the arguments of Rebbe Lezer and Rebbe Yeshua. When Rebbe Lezer was bringing all the proofs from heaven that he was right, Rebbe Yeshua said, Torah la b'shemaimi. Sorry, the Torah is not in heaven. Even a baskol, even if the voice came out from heaven and said he's right, Rebbe Yeshua wasn't impressed because Torah is in this world. So the Rebbe explains why. What's the significance? What's this idea that Torah has to be given specifically here, and through the Torah coming to this world, it permeates the world? So the Rebbe explains, because the ikra koich v'toikef dalikus, you want to know the strength of godliness, is when could you realize it? When it's able to affect this physical world. To affect the spiritual world doesn't show the strength of holiness, the godliness. If godliness can affect people in this world, space in this world, time in this world, shows the power and the importance of Torah. In the lowest place, like right when you want to transform someone, it's no big chiddush to transform a good kid, a good student, to transform a student that's fighting the system and bring that person into the fold. That's a chiddush. And only through our work here in this world, can we bring down the essence. What does it mean to bring down the essence? The essence is, how do you trigger essence? The deeper something is, the deeper it's connected to the initial kavanah, the initial intent of everything. because the whole world doesn't really exist, right? It's in creation. So what really triggers the essence of God is specifically something done in this world, not something spiritual or not something that happens in spiritual realms. But when something in this world, when someone transforms themselves, the moment, the space, and brings godliness down, that triggers essence. Because that's where why does that trigger essence? Because that was the inspiration for creation. So and the inspiration comes from God's essence. So when you fulfill the reasoning of creation, it gets a reaction from the essence. Otherwise, it's just chitzonius, just external. Because when you take the lowest of places, what's the Rebbe building to? The Rebbe is building to, they're coming to the United States with all due respect. America is celebrating 250 years. But in the vision from Torah, the United States, and part of the reason why the United States became the United States, it's all part of the same idea. 250 years was the Gashmis before the Ruchnis. That first came the settlers in the Mayflower and those who came, Columbus, and then came Torah so many years later in a big way. And what was all this about? This is all furthering the message of Mashiach, because again, the lower something is, and that you could transform that triggers essence. And what's Mashiach? Mashiach is Gilui Likus, is a revelation of godliness. So the Rebbe says, the point is, when you take the lowest space, then you can pick up the whole building, right? If that's the rule Chassidus says many times, right? The lever. You can try to pick up a car from middle, it's not going to be a good experience. Not only that, not only does the lower space get elevated, or the middle space get elevated, the highest point of revelation of the world in the world gets elevated when you elevate a low space. And where do you want to see the true strength of Matan Torah? And Matan Torah is the strength of the world, because the whole purpose of the world was that the Torah should be given this world. And because, like the Rebbe said, before Matan Torah you couldn't penetrate the world. Now that the Torah was given, now we could affect the world. And what is this? What is the moment of the month of strength connected to Matan Torah? It's the 28th of Sivan. And therefore the Rebbe is saying it's not by any chance that the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin arrived in the United States, Chatzi Kader Tachton, the bottom half of the globe, because we look at Matan Torah as the top half of the globe, to start bringing the well springs of the Baal Shem Tov of Chassidus to get the world ready for Mashiach. And it happened specifically on the 28th of Sivan, the day of strength of the month of Sivan, which is the month of strength. When you were coming after the 27th, again, it's not just that it happens to be the number 28 makes up the word koyach. The reason why there's strength in 28th, because it comes after the 27th, and the 27th is 3 times 3 times 3, which is a chazaka and a chazaka and a chazaka, right? A triple knot 3 times. V'yuven said, the Rebbe says to explain this more. Api ha'shayches im parshas shlach, shekarinu b'shabbos achroina, shemnei misbarchim Chof-Ches Sivan, b'roi v'shani. The 28th of Sivan is either read like this year on Shlach, or Chof-Ches Sivan comes after Shlach, between Shlach and Korach. By us in Eretz Yisrael, it's going to be Korach. So the Rebbe says in Shlach, it says Shlach Echad Nashim. God says to Moshe, send people, spies. The Yisuras Eretz Canaan, they should spy out the land of Canaan. Kaya Shlichus Hamragnu Adei Moshe Rabbeinu Lechus V'liris Is Eretz K'dei B'chtei Lahakol. Moshe is talking about, what's the idea of the spies? It's talking about Moshe sending spies to go check out the land. So we could figure out an easier way, not if, but how, to go conquer the land. It's a big difference between if and how. And again, the whole idea of Pasha Shlach is not just that they were spies, but these were spies of Moshe. And Moshe sent them and empowered them to go find a way to conquer the land. God says, I'm not telling you what to do. Moshe, this is on you. You have to figure this one out. Nevertheless, it's not anyone's figuring out, it's Moshe Rabbeinu. And the Torah is saying that no one forced at the end of the day with all the narrative. Moshe decided. Who's fierce adas? What do we know about Moshe? That we talk about Moshe being Sfiras HaChachma, the attribute of Chachma. But mainly, like we've learned in the Maimarim, especially the Rebbe's last Maimer that he gave to us, was the idea that Moshe Rabbeinu gives das to Klal Yisrael. Das is hergish, to feel, not just to know. But the das avicha means to really know it, to feel it. Das is the one of the most important, if not the most important, attribute of all the attributes, because it affects you. Move on, imkain. Shashlichus mitzad daitish Moshe, when it says this is the das of Moshe. Vivadi hitzlicha, how to be successful. And at the end of the day, the Rebbe is not subscribing to the whole narrative of the story. As we look at the story in the whole negative 40 years in the desert, punishment, all that. But the Rebbe says that's a detail of the story. But what had to generally be accomplished in the story, which was to make it easier to conquer the land, was still accomplished. That it made it easier. When Joshua was able to conquer the land, it was only because the spies were sent first. The student of Moshe. The Rebbe doesn't explain what he's saying here. It means because this is a revolutionary idea. Because traditionally is that this idea of the spies is a setback. But the Rebbe says if God says to Moshe, he's sending the das of Moshe. It's like in the bigger picture when we have a war. I mean, if I could add in my explanation, when you have a war, you have a game. Not everything that looks like a failure is a failure. A lot of times you send forces towards something and they miss. It's not successful. The play is not successful, but it breaks a certain strength. That's a certain a force that's holding it back. Even though you didn't breach, right? You bang the wall. You bang the wall. You bang the wall. But eventually, every breach, every sling against something weakens it. So even though at this time, let's say, the forces of evil won on the battle itself, but in the war, the bigger picture, the Jewish people were able to conquer the land properly with Eretz Yisrael because the spies went. It's a revolutionary idea. What's this mean in our service of God? Which I guess this idea also we could take in our own service of God. A lot of times we have things that not only look like not successful, but they were actually failures. They ended up being counterproductive. We don't even know that those things themselves are actually a setting or a platform that later we build success on. What does this mean in our service of God? There's this Kol Yehudi Tzarech Lichvaish. Every Jew has to go and conquer. As Chalkoi Ba'olam, his or her space in the world. Everyone is allocated a space of influence that God expects from you to be able to transform that space. And what does it mean to transform it, to make it to Eretz Yisrael? What does this mean? To make a dwelling place for Hashem in this world. That's what it means to make Eretz Yisrael. And how does it make it? What makes it easier for us to achieve our goals or what's expected from us of making our space Eretz Yisrael? We have the shlichus, the idea of being sent to spy out what we have to conquer. The idea is the word v'yisuru is also from the same root in the word yisra, in addition. That there's an addition in all this. The Yisrin Eretz is in this world the benefit of things of low space. Because Eretz is not Shemayim, is earth, is low. That there's a Yisrin, there's a benefit in earthly things than in elevated things. Like it says, Reb Shimon saying that after 40 years, hold on, let me see what Reb Shimon says here. Reb Shimon says, what I learned was that the Canaan was given to the Jews when the evil acts of the Canaanites reached their ultimate point, the Chet HaMoiri, that only occurred in the 40th year leaving Egypt. So the 40 years, the wait, which could have been in Egypt, has been possible. In Egypt, had it been possible, needed to be completed. Okay, that's another good idea. That's a side idea. That's something that's seemingly a side idea than the indirect idea, but it could be they had to weaken them a little bit more, another 40 years. Okay, thank you, Reb Shimon. Oh, sorry, where are we holding here? So, of Yisrael, Becholi, so the Yisron is tachton. Kidu as is known. Shedavka be'eretz yeshna koyach tzmicha. That where could things grow? Only in the earth. Yesh mi'ayin shemekarim amayim miseder shtalshus. The idea to something to grow from nothing, the power of growth that's in the earth is only in the lowest place of the earth. It means the earth, not in the higher things, doesn't have the power to growth, which is like something that comes from nothing. It means from a seed comes a whole tree. When we work the land, avodas habirurim to elevate, separate good from bad. And then that gives an addition. What's the yisroin? Yisroin means added. So the Rebbe is saying this idea of yisroin, the idea of adding, vayisuru is to add. What is it? The word vayisuru means to spy. In the word vayisuru, which we translate literally to spy out, is also the word yisroin. Yasuru, Yisroin, same rooted word, means addition. That there's an addition in the fact that in the earth, in the lowest place you could eat, that's where there's real growth. And the Rebbe says that the Befrat specifically, when we work with the land, right? You could have the land that just gives off growth without plowing, without working. When we work the land, we toil over the land, we sweat over the land. So then we have even more Yisroin, more addition of light that comes from the darkness, although the darkness both in the effort and the darkness of how we just left things be. It means things could grow in the earth with, sfichim, just things that grow. But the idea is to have proper growth. Proper growth comes with toil and effort. The Rebbe says like this. The root of the concept is this. Eretz Yisfiras Malchus. That Eretz, the earth we know, is the attribute of royalty. That one of the additions, although Malchus has nothing of its own, right? A king, in theory, doesn't become a king in most countries based on how large his or her bank account is. It's the power to rule. There's something royal. It's hard to, it's not definitive. You can't define royalty. It's either you got it or you don't, right? There's certain people that have a certain royal aura about them. And if you have it, you have it. If you don't have it, it's not something you could work on. You can't go to college to be royal. You go to college to get a management job if you want to be a manager of a country. But to be royalty, that's something it's hard to define. You can't acquire it. But at the same time, royalty has nothing of its own. Malchus has nothing of its own. It's everything that it receives. It represents a country. If you're a king of an island with 5 people and two cats, so it's very nice, but you're not the same thing as a king of a whole nation, of a superpower. So the king represents the people, but he's everything. The people depend on the king. So Eretz, he's Sfiras Malchus. In the same time, Yesher Yisrael. There's an addition, again, the word Yisrael. In Malchus, Legabi Shar Sfiras to the other attributes. Although king's royalty is nothing definitive. It's what it receives. If it has chesed, if it has gvura. Shlomayle Menu, even higher than the attributes above it. And of the attributes, it's the lowest one. That's why speech is an example of Malchus. Why? Speech is because speech also has nothing. There's many people that could speak, but what you're going to say depends on what's going on inside of you. How much effort you work to study an idea, if you're funny, if you're mean. I mean, the words themselves, the power to the speech itself is only a representation. You only speak what you have to say. But if you don't have speech, you can't say anything. You can't articulate. So everything is dependent on speech, and speech has nothing of its own. It only articulates what's going on inside of you, how you're feeling, or what you're thinking. That's why speech is malchus. The same idea. And in malchus has the sphere of the one above it, which is Yisod, connection. And connection is basically, which we know that's why in relationship of man and woman, the woman is malchus, royalty, and the man is Yisod. Yisod the malchus, the yichud za and malchus of royalty and Yisod foundation is the union between man and woman. So the side also is, but it's the end of all the midos from a concealed part. Means what deposits, so to say, from the manhood, so to say, into the woman is via Yisod, but it's just the end of everything that's going on before that. So Malchus has everything from Yisod, which has everything from the spheres before it. The Yishim Malchus, what's the addition of Malchus? Nifal Aideh Hamshacha shall call Asfir Shnechlon B'Sfir Sayside. It's what it's able to add to all the things that it has. That's why we say Lacha Hashem Agdula V'Gvur Atveres V'Netzach V'Hayid Kichol B'Shemayim. That even though we don't say Yisod is hinted in the word Kol, which is 50, is Yisod. That's why we don't mention it clearly in the 6 spheres that we mention in the morning in our davening in Veivarach David, right? So we say, no, of course, Kol is Yisod, because we end at Yehoid, but Kol is Yisod, and Malchus is even greater than Kol. Shekol about Kol spheres of Nezer. Yisr Malchus Nifai De'am Shachas Shekol Kol spheres Nechlam B'Spheres Side. Ve'er to Malchus Aval Achkach Kasher Zeh Nimshach Malchus Misgala Yisr Nekoich the Malchus. The Gavishar spheres, but it's only the woman, it's only the earth, so to say, that can make something grow. Yesh Mi'ayin. That's why the woman gives birth, and that's why the earth gives birth to vegetation. Everything that's given, all the effort and everything you put inside, and you have the side, and you have everything. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the earth, you have nothing. Eish is chayil. That's why the woman's a terraspine. She's a crown on her husband because Malchus is greater. Royalty is not just a little bit greater; it's a whole nother league. So it has two sides to it. It's dependent. It's totally dependent. At the same time, it's everything. You want to know what the person is or what the thing is. It's how Malchus shows it. Like I said, the king is a royalty, but you want to know who's he royal to? A good king could elevate an entire country. How could one person? And we see that in history. That smart kings, talented kings, able kings or queens were able to, they were game changers in the direction of their countries, good or bad. Why? They're just one person that represents a whole country, because that's the whole point. Because that's the job of Malchus, is to reveal, complete everything. With strength, for kiyum and everlastingness. The point is that this is why godliness wants to be revealed in the lowest space. In the place of arts, where do we want to see godliness? Is not in the higher realms. How does it translate into the low places? The more something is low and you transform it. And that through taking the lowest place, and how do we, for instance, when we go from the world of Atzilus, what gives godliness from the world of Atzilus into the world of Bria, the world of what starts separation is also Malchus. But in that separation is where we find godliness. V'zeo gam apirish, and we have a few more minutes I want to get to, but the Rebbe talks about United States here, so let's I don't want to go too long into this concept. Let's go a little further. From this we'll understand further the strength of Sivan, the 28th of Sivan. And now we have the strength of the third month. Again, the strength that was given by Matan Torah, lifal tefek, the Galat says the Eastern bars, to reveal the greatness of the low places. That in Oretz you can make this holy. To make the point, where's Atzmus? What attracts Atzmus? What triggers Atzmus? Where is Atzmus? Is in Ba'aretz, in the earth. The Eastern Aretz B'choli, that there's the Aretz is even more than Yisod. In Malchus, in royalty, in the place where it affects, in the outside, the pad, the speech, the outside of what's going on in you. That's true greatness. To make this place a dwelling place for Hashem. Okay, we're limited in time, so we can't go too much to explain it as better. But let's just go further. From this, we get a little bit of lesson in our times. The Rebbe says, "You do appear to be different Kalev." We know the explanation in what Kalev said. Kalev, who was trying to calm the people down when they were freaking out after the spies came back. Sha'amar, he says, "Allah nala, we can elevate, we can go up." Beis aliyas. Why does it say Allah nala? We have 2 times up. V'aderech anechi ela elcha gam Allah. He said similar to what God says to Yaakov, I'm going to bring you back up. Shezeh kal beis aliyos. That means there's two levels of elevation. Haliyah Rishon in the first elevation. Migalas Mitzrayim Eretz Yisrael. When we left Egypt and we went into the land of Canaan of Eretz Yisrael. Binyan Beis Hamikdash, and we built the Beis Hamikdash. V'aliyah Shniya Migalas Seha Achrein LeEretz Yisrael Begula Amitis Vashlem. So the Rebbe says there's different Gemaras. Ad Yav Hashem Ayam Chazik Kunisa. There's two times how there's either we look at the first Aliyah going into Eretz Yisrael with Yeshua, and the second Aliyah with Ezra, the second temple. But that's also, the second temple was either not such an Aliyah, and also not like the Gemara itself says, and also kind of just an extension of what happened with Yeshua in a second attempt, so to say. But the true second Aliyah is going to be with Mashiach. So the Aliyah Rishon is from Galus Mitzrayim to Eretz Yisrael. Obinyan Beis Hamikdash, in the building of the temple, which was the high point. We never reached in the second temple that high point, of course, like the Mishnah says in Avos. V'aliyah Hasheni, but the second elevation, which is higher than the first elevation. Allah Gamela means we go higher than the first elevation. Is Migalas Ha'achrin, is from this exile. The Eretz Yisrael to the Eretz Yisrael, the Gula Mitzvah Shlem, and the true redemption. Obinyan Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi Anitzchi, the everlasting. That's why again, why is the third temple the last temple? Because everything three is everlasting. It's Nitzchi. Like it says, like the Torah tells us, the prophet says, just as the days of Egypt. I read in the floss, I will show you wonders with the coming of Mashiach. And just like the purpose why we went into Egypt, as we learned in many of our Sichas and Amorim in the beginning of Shemais, is in order to make us able to receive the Torah. You can't just go receive the Torah, wet behind the ears. You have to go through a little Mitzrayim in life to receive the Torah on Har Sinai, which is Torah Nigla, to reveal Torah. Kach, like the Alter Rebbe says, and the Rebbe is quoting it, Kol Arichas Hagalos Hazeh. Why is this exile been so long? It's not 210 years. It's not 70 years of Bavel. It's close to 2,000 years. It's because, like anything great, takes time. The greater the thing, the reward, or the greater what you're trying to accomplish, the more effort and time it takes. So, Kach Kol Arichas Hagalos, this whole long exile, is Hazeh, who Kidei Lizchos Legili Pnimis HaTorah She'ilas Lavik, is because then it's going to be revealed with Mashiach, the depths of the secrets of Torah, on the highest level. Kafi Shirashi Mefarish Al Yishakenim Meshikas Piyu, like Rashi says in the pasuk, the Yishakenim Meshikas Piyu, the kiss of the mouth, Muftachim mi'itai lehaifia oid aleim levar lehem soi tamim Mr. Tzfunasi. That Rashi says that we've been promised by Hashem that He's going to reveal to us the secret of Torah. Not sure Andy is. And we know the rule is, like on Shabbos, the rule on Shabbos is that we have that the Tamei Chaim Zachu, that you're cooking all the beautiful food on Shabbos that everyone is cooks, right, and bakes. So we have to have a little taste. You have to have a little taste on Friday. So too, before Mashiach comes, which is going to be the Matan Torah of Pnimis Torah, there has to be a bit of a taste, and that taste started with the revelation of Chassidus through the Baal Shem Tov and the Alter Rebbe. At the end of the 6,000 year, which is like Friday afternoon, Erev Shabbos Hagula, before the Shabbos of the redemption. So therefore, there had to be the revelation, the revelation of the secrets of Torah, the spreading of the wellsprings of Chassidus to the outside world. At the second half of this Friday of the 6,000 years, and it started with the Holy Baal Shem Tov, the Maggid and his student the Maggid, Torah's Chassidus HaKlalos, which they revealed the general teachings of Chassidus, and then how it was enclosed in the garments of wisdom in our understanding, Chacham Bin Das, which makes up Chabad, through the teachings of Chabad, through the Alter Rebbe, Admir Zaken, through the Alter Rebbe, Befrat specifically after the Geula of Yitas Kislev. That after Yitas Kislev started the higher level of revelation, not just the way it was revealed in the ways of the Baal Shem Tov, but to bring it down in the Chacham Bin Das through our logic, through our understanding. The Chodesh Shlishi, the Chodesh HaChorev, also from the third month, starting from Tishrei, Cheshvan, Kislev. So Yitas Kislev was the third month when started the primarily started the teachings of the Alter Rebbe Yitas Kislev. Adeh Chodesh Sivan, a Chodesh Matan Torah, just like Matan Torah is the third month of Yetzias Mitzrayim from Nisan. Chodesh Hashlishi, the Chodesh Hakayis, the third month of the summer. For Rabbeinu Nisienu Mal Mekayim. And so, and after the Alter Rebbe, through the Nisiim, through the leaders, the Rebbes who fulfilled each one after the Alter Rebbe, took his place. The Mittel Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek, the Rebbe Marash, Rebbe Shab, Friedrich Rebbe, and our Rebbe. Asher Gili Torah Chassidus Hi Aschala Ba'ofen Shel Ta'amel Kaponim. The idea is the teachings of Chassidus, and as we get closer, we're tasting a bit more. Sometimes a person takes out the kugel right before Shabbos, has a piece, and the wife says, or the husband says to the wife, it depends who's cooking, says, that's it, no more. You can't have another piece. You have one piece enough, you need the rest for Shabbos. So the question is, when do you take the big piece, the beginning or the end? That's already a discussion you could have at home. But either way, the idea is as we go on through Friday, we have to have a little bit more to eat. But that gives time. What's tam? Not just a taste of food, but a taste of what we're going to have. It gives a whole flavor to get ready for this flavor of Mashiach. So we're starting to have already a taste, a flavor. It will be familiar to us. We're not just going to get this boom. A person never eaten Shabbos food before. What's kugel? So when you're familiar, you have a little coleslaw, a little chicken. So you have all the goodies of Shabbos. You start to taste it's familiar to you, and you're ready for the big Suda Shabbos, which comes with Mashiach Tzedkenu. And just like the Matan Torah was giving us the strength to bring a Yisrael, to spy out the land. What's it mean to spy out the land? And Moshe sent the spies, it helped, whether we understand how or not, to break Eretz Yisrael, and eventually to be able to conquer Eretz Yisrael. Not just that the world should be an obstacle, but eventually the world should itself help reveal godliness. So too, by revealing Torah, starting from the Baal Shem Tov and the Alter Rebbe, and the well springs of Chassidus going out to the world, and not just in a way of doing, but in a way of understanding, which is represented by the acronym of Chabad, Chacham, Bina, Das, B'Seichel Adam, in the intellect of a man. Ad B'Seichel the Nefesh B'Ham, it's not just that our godly soul understands, but even our animal soul understands. B'Seichel Olam, the world understands. The idea is what? Is to make the world ready, to make the world vessels for the revelations of godliness that's coming with Mashiach Tzedkenu. The fact that there is the revelation of Chassidus in the second half of the 6,000th year. There was even an addition to Matan Torah when it happened on Har Sinai. That we were given stronger tools to reveal godliness in the world. The Rebbe says even greater than the tools that were given to us in Har Sinai. But the Rebbe says because everything has to come through Matan Torah, so it was initially given to us through Matan Torah. We didn't know that we had it. Like it says that anything the student is going to reveal comes from Har Sinai. But eventually it could take 100 years, 1,000 years, 5,000, 3,000 years until the student reveals it. So too the Chof-Ches, the strength that we were given Matan Torah, was hidden within us. But then once Chassidus came and started to reveal, to give us these, that we could utilize these tools, to be effective with him, to make the world ready for Mashiach. That it came with the revelation of Torah, but it was hidden. And this gives us the strength to bring out the revealed part of God and the revealed part of the Jewish people. The revelation of God in the world. But when we that was with Matan Torah. But when we get the Torah Chassidus, the idea is not just to reveal the revelation of God in the world, reveal the hiddenness of God in the world. What's hidden by a person? Hidden by a person is something that's much deeper than a person is ready to reveal. The hidden agenda, the hidden want, the hidden desires, the hidden why the world exists, the hidden parts of Torah. So when it comes to Chassidus, we're starting to be able to reveal the hiddenness of God. Through the revelations of the hiddenness of Torah, we're given the strength to reveal the hiddenness of God and the hiddenness of the Jewish people, our own true potential and our own true what we're meant to be doing. and reveal the God, the hiddenness of God, not just to us. The whole world should see it. The highest levels of godliness that for years, I mean, look what's going on now, of things that are being revealed in commodities and in abilities, things that no one imagined that we could do. I mean, being revealed now, towards, like it says in the Zohar, the end of times. Ad lekoyach ha'atzmus, to reveal the essence of God in everything, in Jews and Torah, in the creation, in the world. Sheyeshna ba'olam hazeh, the atzmus that's in this world. Hagashmi dafka shehu levadi b'koyach v'yachal liv yesh mayin. Only God could create something from nothing. And the Rebbe continues to talk. We have to finish this class now, but the Rebbe continues to talk that this was the idea. It's a beautiful talk. This was the idea of Chof-Ches Sivan, and why on the 28th of Sivan, the Rebbe says over here, like the Rebbe goes into the definition. My chavrusa have to wait a few seconds. The Rebbe says, in how things went with the wellsprings of Chassidus, how you come at dargis v'shlagim, their stages, right? Everything has stages. Hashiva Teisha Deiris Baal Shem Tov Adam Razak Na'adarin Izeh. From the 7-9 generations until our generation, Chassidus evolved. Achri Adam Razakin Shachai B'Liyajne V'Achach B'Liyadi. So first the Alter Rebbe was in Liyajne, then he went to Liyadi. Hayir Rebbe Seinu Kamen Deiris B'Lubavitch. They moved to Lubavitch. That was the next step in the revelation of Chassidus, not just that they made a move. V'Achach B'Dar Shvim Baal Shem Tov. 7 generations from the Baal Shem Tov, they went to Rostov. The Rebbe Rashab moved to the city Rostov on the Don River that was away from Lubavitch. Leningrad. Then the Frierdiker Rebbe went to Leningrad, which I think at the time was, or Petersburg, which was one of the centers of communism. After that, the Frierdiker Rebbe was in Poland until Kashagil Artzis Abris, until we came to the United States of America. And the Rebbe evidently was in a few places in America, meaning a few in Lakewood, what have you, until we came to the building that we are now. The Rebbe is sitting in 770, Beis HaKnesset, Beis HaMedrash, Lubavitch 770. And the Rebbe says the whole idea was to come to 770. And as the Rebbe says, if it continues, 770 is the number value of Paratsta, which is Ufarasta spread out, because from 770, started, especially under the Rebbe's leadership, and starting with the 28th of Sivan, the last final steps of the revelations of Mashiach, of the Mayonas, and should be specifically on the bottom place. That Rebbe, that's why it was in Chatzik Adar Tachlin. Mashiach couldn't come until the United States was conquered. And that started with the United States conquered 250 years. 250 years, first came the 250 years, like everything. And then came Torah afterwards. And then came Chassidus afterwards. Then came the Rebbe afterwards. Then came Chassidus Chabad. And from there, Teitze Or comes all the light. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining. A good Chodesh. And we'll see you all Bez Hashem next class. Take care.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.